Okay, so welcome to the seventh session for Food Service Systems 2. So for today, we have recording. For the seventh session for Food Service Systems 2, we have Miss Anne Rhealene D. Reyes. So Miss Reyes got her BS Nutrition degree from UPLB. She specializes in food service systems and restaurant operations and training. That includes restaurant food safety and sanitation service and hospitality. She's currently one of the training managers sorry, of the Bistro Group. In 2019, she was awarded with the Training Manager of the Year award. She's also a training assistant for the Nutrition Program Management National Nutrition Council under the DOH. Okay, Ma'am Reyes is a Suki resource person for FNDRC. She is also part of the Bistro Group's team that conducts restaurant operations, virtual OGT, which IHNF took part since last year. So let us all welcome Miss Anne Rhealene D. Reyes. Good morning po, ma'am.
Good morning, Chef Ian. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our lecture for the Food Service Systems 2. Yan. And thank you for the introduction, Chef Ian. And actually nga, pang-apat ko na ata ito ano, tama ba? Na-review. And so far, we still have 100% passing rate for, for the reviews that we conducted. Yan. I think we have 100 of students here. Of future R&Ds here. Tama ba? 116.
We have 116, but we have registered 247, I think.
Oh, okay. So the rest will be viewing the recorded session.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan. And I think I have some familiar faces. Yung mga nakasablay dyan. And aside, Chef Ian, aside from UPLB, ano ba yung ibang schools na nandito ngayon?
Okay, mga participants, shout out na shout out kayo sa schools nyo.
Yeah, shout out nyo naman para ma-mention naman natin. Yan. Kasi parang may nagsabi sa akin may FEU dito na ano eh. Naging student ko din. Ayan. So yeah, good morning. So, may mga sure na magpa-participate sa ano natin. Pag di kayo nag-participate, unfriend ko na kayo.
Ipag-game si ma'am at may pa-premyo. So,
ay, oo.
Guys.
Ay, abot kayo. Yan, mamaya may pa-premyo tayo. Okay, so let me share my screen. Ayan, okay na ba? Can you see my screen? Okay, thank you, Chef Ian. So maybe we can start already. Okay, so for this lecture, as I am assigned with the Food Service Systems 2, And we will be discussing all about the food service facilities planning, architectural considerations, food cost and labor cost, and also financial records. And we'll also have time for Q&A. What I did with my recorded sessions, um, these are divided into parts. So I will be playing my recorded lectures, and then from time to time we'll have 10 to 15 minutes of discussion or Q&A. So to keep our lecture alive, yan, kahit recorded siya, you have to watch out for these icons. Okay, so for the first icon that we have, sorry, I have to check my sound. Parang hindi yata ako. Okay, so for the first icon that you will see, that means that we have a poll question, and you can participate by sending your answers in the chat box. So you just have to type in your answers. We'll also have some review tips and Q&A. So for the poll questions, right after our session for today, we will be drawing. We will draw all of the chat box, and of course, the more you participate, you have more chances of winning. Yan. So meron tayong pa-premyo mamaya. And you can send your answer only once. So we will disqualify the spammers. So just type in the letter of your choice once. Yan. And yung pang prize natin will be a gift na walang laman. So for the prize, we're giving away yan, UCC coffee set and some chocolates. For the winners, so ibig sabihin madami sila, mga tatlo lang. Yeah. So we'll have 3 winners later on. That will be who will bring home or we will receive our prizes. Yan, free delivery. Free shipping nationwide. And I will also shoulder the shipping to your address.
Wow, and all.
Again, that is if you participate, yan, under bistro, employment under bistro, hindi ko yan magagaranty. Pero hiring ngayon ang bistro. Yan. So if you participate, you have the chance to win in our mini raffle later on. Okay, so we can start. Yan, meron muna tayong testing. Testing muna tayo. Kasi titignan natin baka hindi kayanin ng chat box. Baka mag-crash. So, let's try with this first poll question.
Ma'am, the first one na mag-type in ng answer, yun yung panalo, no?
Hindi naman, sir. Basta lahat ng entries sa chat box will be included in the draw later on.
Okay, may draw.
So we do not have to check kung sino yung nauna or pang ilan, but anyone can answer.
Okay.
Yan. Basta during the 15 seconds time now.
All right. Thank you.
And si Chef Ian will monitor the chat box for the spammers. Bawal mag-spam.
Ano ba yung spammer? Hindi ko familiar.
10 times, sir, nagsasend na sagot.
So once lang sila pwede mag-send ng sagot.
Yes. So, dapat isa-isa lang. Yan. But you will only enter a letter of your answer. So hindi siya words. So for example, and what does this symbol mean? So review tips, poll question, or Q&A. I'll give you 15 seconds. So for that 15 seconds, you will have to type the letter of your choice. So letter lang ang kailangan nyo i-type, no need for. Okay, so when the time is up, we will reveal the answer right away. So you can also check kung tama or mali yung sagot nyo. And regardless if it's right or wrong, that will be included as an entry pa din. So what is important is that you participate. Okay, so I hope we are clear with the very simple instructions natin. Ayan. So I see madami naman na nakapag-type ng mga sagot nila. Yan, okay. So we can start our presentation. I just want to check if my audio is clear. Chef Ian, okay naman.
Yes po.
So para sa video then we can also. So this will be my first recorded video. Welcome to the part 1 of our food service systems lecture. And in this section, we will be discussing about food service facilities planning. So we have the steps in facilities planning, basic principles of design and layout, and also trends affecting food service facilities. So with the steps in facilities planning, we start with a prospectus, the planning team, the feasibility study, menu analysis, architectural features, and budget and cost. So the following steps will be the main focus of our discussion for facilities planning and design. But first, let us start answering this poll question. Just type in the letter of your answer in the chat box and you will be given 15 seconds. Right after that, we will reveal the correct answer. Which of the following cannot be used as basis for space allocation in planning a food service facility? Is it a menu, business hours, or equipment dimension? So type in the letter of your answer. Is it N, B, or E? So time's up. And the answer is B, business hours. So basically, the menu and equipment dimensions may be used as basis for space allocation in planning a food service facility. Now we'll talk about the 5 M's of successful food service facility design. Number 1 is the menu. So we have mentioned earlier that the menu plays an important role as basis for our planning. The menu will dictate our food price, the needed equipment, the storage requirements, floor space, service area, the investment that we need, and the menu is also considered as the heart of facilities planning. Next is market, and knowing our target market will help us have a successful plan and design. Knowing the size, the taste, preferences, and motivations or the needs and wants of our market will help us make it more appropriate for the facility that we are planning. Next is money. The money that we need or the budget needs to be determined in order to plan correctly and allocate properly for the costs in construction, interior design, equipment, supplies, furnitures, and fixtures. Next is the management. We have to identify who will operate the facility and what skills and experience must he or she have. Last is the method. Knowing the methods of production, control systems, and other operation procedures will help us decide for the best facility design. The prospectus versus feasibility study. So we define prospectus as a clear picture of physical structure and operational aspects of the project. When we prepare the prospectus, we include the type of service and food service system, kinds of organization and management, the hours of operation and the style of service, menu pattern, the method of purchasing, prep, storage, and service, and the customers, managers, employees, and the location. So applying the 5 M's will also help us prepare a well planned or um, well constructed prospectus. Next is the feasibility study. This is done to establish the viability of the project. And there are two types of feasibility: the market feasibility, which helps us determine if the sales revenues will be great enough to generate reasonable profit. And the financial feasibility will help us know if the profits generated by the operation will be sufficient to satisfy investors' expectations for financial return. And in the planning phase of every food service facility, the planning team will be greatly involved or accountable. And who are the members of our planning team? First is the owner. The owner has the authority to make decisions, and other functions would include stating the need for the facility, its type and characteristics, exploring financial means, and determining the size, type, and location. Another person is the manager or the dietitian. He or she has the responsibility of spelling out in detail the operational needs of the facility. So being knowledgeable enough with the facilities, uh, the manager or dietitian will also be involved in menu planning, creating the workflow, identifying the personnel and staffing requirements, and also coordinating the preparation of the prospectus. Another one is the architect, who interprets or translates the views and ideas of the owners and the manager to make sure that we have proper selection of equipment and other construction materials. The architect also prepares the plans and specifications for structural requirements and making sure that the construction or the plan for the facility will be complying with the architectural standards. We also have other members of the planning team, who includes food service consultant, business managers, builders or contractor, maintenance or mechanical engineers. We may also have a research and development chef and an interior designer, and also equipment dealers and suppliers. Now we move on to the menu analysis, which is done to determine space, equipment needs, based on the preparation methods required to produce a specific menu. And aside from that, the menu analysis is done and would help us to determine the amount of floor space that we need, amount of investment, type and size of seating, the selling price of the food, designing service areas, number of employees, dishwashing area size and dish machine, refrigeration and storage areas, type of cooking equipment, and the capacity of cooking equipment. So how do we do a menu analysis? So with this example, knowing that we already have a menu list and the recipe for those, we already have this following information such as storage, portion, batch size, and process required. And doing the menu analysis helps us determine the workspace that we need and also the specific equipment and tools. With this single recipe or menu item, we were able to identify several equipment such as toaster or griddle, induction burner, slicers, and deep fat fryers, and other specific tools. So doing this for all of the menu items, for example, in this one, we were able to summarize the need for workspace and specific equipment again for these two menu items. So what we have to do to complete our equipment list and tools list is to do menu analysis for all of the items that we are planning to serve in the food service facility. Now let us pause for some review tips. And this one is called hamburger stand theory. So these theories are applied in our restaurant operations, and we can actually use and follow this theory in order to have a successful review. So this theory stresses the need to be organized and proactive, and we also make sure to remind our employees to set up for success. So how do we apply this? First, prepare your review materials ahead of time. And you gather all your manuals, your notes, pens, calculators, or other things that you need, which may also include your snacks, and prepare them ahead of time. Clear your study area or your study table with unnecessary things and avoid clutter. So this will help you be more focused and setting up your study area and making sure that everything is within reach will help you have more time reviewing more topics. So next part of our discussion will be the 8 principles of food service facilities design. This includes flexibility and modularity, simplicity, the flow of materials and personnel, ease of sanitation, ease of supervision, space efficiency, lifetime value, and principle of compromise. With number 1, flexibility and modularity, we have to understand that there is no single design standard for every food service industry. There are many designs that are acceptable and workable for a facility, but there is no one right way of doing things for everything. So with this principle of flexibility in our design will help us to accommodate new menu items, new methods of preparations, new equipment items, and new methods of service. And with modularity or being able to adjust based on our needs, the operations, or our requirements, we will be able to achieve the standard sizes of equipment, standard utility connections, and ease of removal and replacement. And these are examples of questions for design professionals that point to flexibility and modularity. You have to answer, if I need to add equipment, where will it go? So sometimes we want to add menu items, which will also require new equipment, but we do not have space or we cannot adjust anymore. So we are lacking this principle of flexibility and modularity. Next, is there extra space under the hood for new equipment that requires ventilation? So if we have limited space for equipment under the hood, we cannot easily add cooking equipments with that. Now, how easily can the equipment be moved to a different location? Some of the equipment you may observe are designed to have this feature being portable already and being easy to relocate in case that we have to do adjustment in the operations. Can this equipment easily be replaced with a comparable model from other manufacturer? So sometimes our manufacturers will not be able to comply with our needs. So we have to be able to find other manufacturers, and with having a modular or flexible type of equipment, we can easily find substitutes or alternates. Next is the principle of simplicity. So with this principle, we want to select equipment without unnecessary accessories, or we want to avoid clutters, confusions, and inefficiency because of the equipment that we use. So for examples, we want clean and uncluttered lines, avoid unnecessary accessories, and equipment that are simple to operate. Just like an industrial coffee machine like this, it would require a skilled barista to operate. But having an automatic espresso machine may help us serve the same quality of coffee, same quality of espresso with a more simple equipment and easy to operate, and also um, cost us lower in terms of labor and in terms of the price of the equipment. Next principle is the flow of materials and personnel. So with this, we want to identify the movement of employees from one functional area to another and making sure there is a smooth flow. Also the flow of raw food from the dock when delivery to storage, to preparation, and to service area. Next is the flow of dishes through the dishwashing system and back to the service area. So those are examples, and this image shows us the flow of materials and personnel in a food service operation. So starting with the back dock, where deliveries are received, we have the receiving area, the dry storage or cold storage, preparation, to the final preparation, to service, to the dining area, and back to the kitchen where warewashing will be done, and also waste disposal. So this can be our guideline in designing and planning the equipment that we use and the facilities that we want to include in our food service operation. The ease of sanitation. So for this principle, what we want to do is to make sure that all of the equipment, the setup that we have in the restaurant or in the food service facility are easy to clean and sanitize. So examples, for building finishes, we prefer those that are easy to clean and sanitize, providing and arranging work areas so that cross-contamination between raw and cooked products is unlikely, and using wall-hung equipment and locating utility services in the walls so that floors are free of clutters. And garbage disposal in preparation areas to simplify waste disposal. There are three types of surfaces used in the food service equipment based on NSF, or the National Sanitation Foundation, which includes food contact surfaces. The recommended material shall be smooth, corrosion resistant, non-toxic, stable, and non-absorbent under use condition, and they shall not impart an odor, color, taste, or contribute to the adulteration of food. So, for example, our chopping boards that we use directly for cutting or preparing food ingredients. Next are splash contact surfaces, which shall be smooth, easily changeable, and corrosion resistant or rendered corrosion resistant with a material which is non-cracking and non-chipping. And last is the non-food contact surfaces. Although they are non-food contact, they shall still be smooth, corrosion resistant, or rendered corrosion resistant. Or basically, we avoid materials for these surfaces which will not last long or will be easily damaged in during the times that we work in the kitchen or in the food service facility, and we want to make sure that they will not be a hazard, physical hazard to the food or to the product that we are preparing. The fifth principle is the ease of supervision. For example, locating the production office with lines of sight to the preparation area rather than the back door, minimizing the number of walls and partitions between the functional areas, and avoid separating by floors. So most of the food service facilities that we will see nowadays would have less walls, and some would use glass panels or glass dividers in order to easily see what is happening on the floor. Next principle is this space efficiency. And efficiency means just right. Not too large because it will be wasting it that will waste steps moving and walking from one station to another, and not too small because that may cause crowding, injury, and contamination. In order to have an efficient workstation, here are the considerations. Work surface or table, a food prep sink, a hand wash sink separated from the food prep sink, a cutting surface, storage for utensils, storage for pans, storage for raw materials, storage for finished products, and proper aisle space for movement. So having this will help us make sure that our workstation, our work area will be efficient for the task that we have. So considering that we have may have limited space in our food service facility, there are actually set up that we can share with different workstations. Just like, for example, the hand washing sinks may be designated for 2 or 3 workstations. Prep sinks may be dedicated for prep station only or may be shared with other stations by having specific time schedule. So that will make sure that sharing the prep sink will not cause contamination with other products being prepped in the same sink. Next principle is the lifetime value. So the cost of a design solution or an equipment is not the purchase price, but actually the overall cost of ownership, including the operational costs, maintenance costs, labor costs to operate, and the lifetime or how long will it last. So for the EAT principle, which is the principle of compromise, we have to understand that conflict is inevitable and compromise is necessary. So conflict always arise in the design process, and only the skilled and experienced person or members of the planning team will be able to balance the priorities. So that's why we also have to consult professionals in the food service facilities planning, especially the architects, the managers, and the owners of the business. So usually budget and space constraints are frequent. And for example, having a power dishwashing system would save labor over a long term. But that would cost 5 times as much as a standard sink. So deciding on whether to have a power dishwashing system or a standard sink will be a decision to make by the planning team, and we have to compromise. So based on the priorities of the operations. So those are again the 8 principles of design in food service facility. Okay, now we have a poll question. What is the general flow of food within a food service operation? Is it storage, production, heating, cooling, catering, cleaning, and sanitation? Or delivery, storage, preparation, production, service, cleaning, and sanitation? Or delivery, inventory, cleaning, preparation, storage, and freezing? So you have 15 seconds. in your answer? Is it S, B, or E? Okay, time's up. And the correct answer is letter D, delivery, storage, preparation, production, service, cleaning, and sanitation. We actually have another question. So what principle is considered when we avoid wooden cooking tools and equipment in the commercial kitchen? Is it flexibility and modularity? Because wooden tools are not available anywhere. Is it simplicity because wooden tools are complicated to use? Or is it ease of sanitation because wooden tools are difficult to clean and sanitize? So you have 15 seconds. Is it F, S, or E? Decide in your answers in the chat box. Okay, so time's up. And the correct answer is ease of sanitation because wooden tools are difficult to clean and sanitize. So there are actually certain equipment which are considered, which are given consideration. So if you will see commercial Chinese concept or a restaurant, Chinese restaurant, there are traditional equipment which are not available in other materials aside from wooden. So with this situation, so for example, the dim sum steam baskets that they use may not be replaced with other materials. So for this situations, they have to follow specific procedures in order to maintain its cleanliness and make sure that they are sanitized regularly. So moving forward, we're now with the trends affecting food service facilities design. So the first trend is the open kitchen trend. So nowadays, and actually this is most common in the year 2019 to 2020 before the pandemic, when customers want to see, hear, and smell food the minute they step through your restaurant's doors and as a part of the overall dining experience. So what the facilities brought up is having an open kitchen. So this open kitchen helps more um, of the facilities operations to be more attractive and interesting since the customers are able to see what is happening inside the kitchen, and that is what the customers nowadays prefer. So some facilities are designed to be open but still considering the safety and and having a more secured kitchen space. So glass windows or glass panels are preferred instead of having it totally open. So in this example, you will see the inside of the kitchen operation, yan, from the outside of the facility. Another trend nowadays is the alfresco or outdoor dining. So since the demand for outdoor dining has increased because of the restrictions that we have because of the pandemic, food service facilities are now considering to improve the outdoor dining experience. So having good ventilation, uh, good setup with tables and chairs, even if it's outside of the dining area. Some have also improved the ambience by adding lights and making the outdoor feel more exciting and more appealing to the customers. Another trend is the virtual restaurant or cloud kitchen. So this is also known as ghost restaurant or cloud kitchen because we do not see physically where is the restaurant or the kitchen is located. And most of these facilities operate through delivery only or pick up through pick up directly by those who order the food, or some of them use third party delivery services. So because of the pandemic and the lockdowns, so dining guests significantly decreased and most would prefer takeaways and deliveries. So this photo describes the virtual restaurant ordering flow. So starting from online ordering, which may be through a mobile app, processing of the order by the kitchen staff, packing of the food, and delivering of the order directly to the customer. So having just the kitchen operations and removing the dining operations cuts the cost of this type of food service facility. So instead of renting bigger spaces, instead of having servers, furnitures, and too much utilities, so they are able to offer their prices or lower menu prices because this type of facilities can focus on the quality of their products. Here are some examples of virtual kitchens which are available online. Okay. And another trend yan, are called meal kits or DIY kits. So this trend has been popular because meals are made more simple and can guarantee restaurant quality dishes even if they will be served at home. So we have a poll question regarding this kind of meal kits. What type of food service system is used by facilities producing meal kits or ready-to-eat food packs? Is it assembly serve, commissary, or ready prepared? So you have 15 seconds. Type in your answer. Is it A, C, or R? Just type the letter of your answer in the chat box. Okay, that's time's up. And the answer is ready prepared food service system, or we also call it the cook chill or cook freeze system. So It is a food preservation technology where foods are fully cooked, rapidly chilled, or frozen for storage and reheated before serving. There's also procedure which is popular nowadays called the sous vide cooking, which is a method that can be applied in this type of food service system. So using sous vide, the food is cooked in vacuum sealed bag. Yan. And then it is cooked in a temperature controlled water. So after this slow cooking process, the food may be stored, chilled, or frozen for future use. So with this type of food service facility or trend, some facilities that will be required are still the all preparation equipments for cooking, serving, and this may also require batch cooking equipment, blast freezers, sufficient storage space, and also some packaging equipment. Here are examples that I would like to share for these meal kits, just like the stay kit of Test Kitchen Manila, pizza making kit of Pizza Express. There are also hot pot kits, DIY ramen kits, and laksa kits. There are kebab kits, and also there are palitaw kits. Yeah. So those are examples of um, meal kits or ready or pre-packed meals that can be served, delivered, and served at the comfort of your home. Okay, so that ends the first video for our lecture. I would like to know if we have some questions. Any questions so far?
Guys, you can type in your questions in the chat box.
If you have clarifications, yan, pwede nyo nang i-chat for this section of the lecture. Yan, gising pa ba tayo dyan? Kulang na lang ng background music. Makakatulog na tayo sa haba ng mga lecture natin. We have one question from Kyla. What are some examples of third-party delivery? Yes. So it means pag third party, they are separate company or group who offers delivery services. Yan, tama. Example natin ay Grab, Lalamove, or yung mga Food Panda. Okay, thank you for that question, Kyla. Another question from, sorry, hindi ko masyado makita ang pangalan. Ayan, Janil. Is there any necessary precautions if the food service standards are using proper sanitation in the area? How do we know? Or do we need to know as a consumer? Um, Janelle, can you expound your question? Is there any necessary precaution if the food service handlers are using proper sanitation in the area? Do you mean at this time, kasi pandemic? Okay. So, aside from the, yung mga standards na na-mention natin, so those are actually written standards. So, you can see those in the manuals, sa mga audit standards. So, but now, since pandemic, so we have to be more um, conscious in terms of sanitation. So, we have extra food extra food safety standards that we implement, just like the use of the temperature check. Yan. We also make sure that foods are covered when they are being served to the guests. So also, mas madalas yung ini-implement din natin na schedule for sanitation of our work preps, yan, and the dining area. So, how do we or do we need to know? So, as a consumer, of course, you would also have to observe yung mga food service facilities na pinupuntahan mo pa rin if they are able to comply on this kasi syempre kailangan din natin na mas maging sure lalo na ngayon. Yan. So, that's for Janelle. And then, for Joyce, with the current trend of alfresco dining, which is more expensive furniture, additional space for seating. Okay, considering the furniture, in terms of the alfresco, I believe mas mahal pa din yung mga furnitures natin na for interior. But syempre kung additional additional um kumbaga setup 'yon sa food service facility, of course it will incur additional cost. Yan. So what is good? What is good about alfresco dining is syempre we have less expenses in air conditioning, 'di ba? Kasi mas yung ventilation, mas prefer natin yung open area. Yan. So syempre medyo magsa-sacrifice lang din tayo in terms of the comfort for our customer kasi kung mainit naman yung panahon, mahirap din naman siyang i-control. So in terms of sanitation naman, it would be in terms of the 'di ba sa preference ng IETF, it would be safer kapag outdoor or open air. Yan. So to limit the transmission of the virus. But in terms on how we sanitize, I believe na parehas lang pa din. So we have to sanitize the surfaces, the tables, and the chairs before every transaction. So the same pa din naman yung kailangan nating practices for that. Yan. So that is for Joyce Pantorilla. Next question we have siguro 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Paano po yung labor cost sa third party delivery? Yan. So what actually happens if you are affiliated with a third party delivery, you are paying a certain percentage to them. For example, meron kang there are different cases pala. For example, Food Panda, yan, may percentage ng sales na mapupunta sa kanila. So for example, 20% of that goes to Food Panda. Yan. And that includes the use of their mobile app kasi mas convenient yon para dun sa mga customers. Another way is with the use of delivery lang. So, ibig sabihin, just like Grab, ibig sabihin, um, we do not have additional cost. Yan. And yung nagiging cost is nandun sa customer because they are paying for the delivery fee. So, and the convenience fee that goes to the rider. So, si rider lang yung nag-o-order dun sa restaurant in behalf of the customer. So, those are the two ways. Yan. That is for Rhealene. Yan. And another one from Kim, in case of foodborne illness, are third-party delivery also considered liable? Mm, for now, I think foodborne illness will not be not really connected, or hindi siya it will not affect the food will not be affected or contaminated during the delivery, especially if we ensure proper packaging ng food natin. And based on sa mga recent news, just like for example yung sa Jollibee, 'di ba? Although it's not a foodborne illness, but we can consider that um contamination or hazard. So the Grab rider would not be liable in that case, since wala naman siyang direct contact, or hindi naman niya inopen yung food when he delivered it. And I believe it is also part of their procedures na i-receive lang nila yung order and directly give it to the customer. So, but still, if in case there is a foodborne illness and which involves the health of the customer, so siguro kung may severely affected customer, there could be an investigation with that para makita kung meron din bang liability nga yung third party delivery natin. Yan. Kasi naka-record naman yung time din when they pick up the orders and up to the time that they have delivered the orders. So sobrang minimal time lang din yung kino-cover. Yan. So that is for Kim Yu. Okay. May ni-share din pala si Chef Ian. So additional inputs. Yan. Any other questions? Yan. So from the business perspective, yan, si Chef Ian din, familiar din siya sa mga third party deliveries talaga. Other questions from the participants? Before we proceed to the next part of our discussion, okay, paano po ma-ensure yung sanitation ng food na nagka-come in a resto ngayon panahon ng pandemic? Okay. So in these times, as I have mentioned, like yung mga delivery po ng para sa stock ng goods. Yes. So as I have mentioned, syempre we have to follow food safety standards. And even before pandemic naman, may mga policies na tayo for that. But syempre mas strict tayo in terms of how we prepare or package our food. So to ensure sanitation, ayan, especially for deliveries, So it will be the role of the um, restaurant owners or the managers to make sure na yung delivery partners nila syempre would be responsible in delivering the products immediately. So syempre if you have um, high risk or if your food products are perishable, you have to make sure that they will be delivered right away. And syempre, di ba may mga food din na it will be best if masiserve siya in few minutes or in few hours lang to be consumed immediately. Yan, for the best quality. So, um, your delivery partners also should have should also be familiar with your standards like that kasi syempre sa kanila it will depend on them kung makakarating agad yung ano natin yung food products natin sa mga consumers. Yan, and even the delivery partners, now you have to be responsible to check if they also follow sanitation procedures. Yan, just like the riders, if they wear masks, if they have the chance to, syempre, sanitize their hands regularly. So, may mga ini-implement din naman na gano'n yung mga delivery partners natin. So, they even showed to the customers that they sanitize their hands yan, bago nila iabot yung mga food orders na nasa ano nila, nasa storage. Yan. So, syempre, buy from reputable establishments. Yan. Sabi nga ni Chef Ian. So, that is also very important. You have to know where your food orders comes from. Okay, so thank you. So, ayan, may pahabol pa. One more question from Charlene. How about the meal kits, DIY meals? How does it function? Yes, ayan. We consider them ready prepared. Kasi yung mga DIY meals, instead of cooking or preparing the food before serving it to you, they will just prepare the kit or the ingredients. So, hindi pa siya luto or hindi pa siya totally prepared. You just have to, pagdating sa bahay or pag-deliver sa'yo, you will still have to cook them or prepare them by yourself. So, pine-prepare lang nila yung mga basic ingredients. And they have to follow the proper procedures pa din in storage to maintain the quality and the safety of the food. Like the proper temperature, kung chilled ba yan or frozen ba yan, and packaging is also important. So that is for Charlene. Okay, meron pang isa. With the current pandemic, are physical barriers and guides for dine-in restaurants also be considered? What would it be in the principle of planning? Okay. Sige, last na talaga yung question ni John. Michael. Yan. Yes, we consider that nowadays in part of the planning the design of the food service facility. Yan. Kasi although temporary lang yung mga gano'n na na set up. Like yung mga markers, floor markers, yung mga temperature scanners natin, we do not really put them as permanent part of the design. So temporary lang. But still they are in consideration nowadays kasi we still follow the guidelines from the IATF. So since nandun pa rin naman yung mga guidelines nila, we will still have to comply. Especially in the food service facilities. You can also review the IATF guidelines for food service facilities. Yan, if you want to know the details. So, may mga guidelines pa rin kasi tayo, especially in the seating capacity. Yan. So, thank you, John Michael from SU. Yan, for your questions and for all the questions. Again, later on, we will entertain questions. So, i-type nyo lang or i-ready nyo na lang. So, we can answer them right after this next part of the discussion. Welcome to the part 2 of our food service systems lecture. And in this section, we will be discussing about the architectural considerations in food service facilities plan. There are factors to consider in choosing building style and materials. This includes food service system type, the geographic location, local weather conditions, permanence desired, and the menu. Now let's answer this poll question. What is the typical kitchen dining area size expressed as a fraction? Is it dining area is 1/4 of the kitchen area? Kitchen area is 1/3 of the dining area, or kitchen area is 1/2 of the dining area? You have 15 seconds. Is it K, P, or N? Okay, time's up. And the answer is 1/3 of the dining area. So typically, it is 1/3 to 1/4 of the dining area. Now, let's move to the general guidelines. For floors, ideally, quarry tiles are used. They are the most preferred for its non-slip and durable material. They meet utility, durability, and resiliency requirements. Impervious to moisture, grease, and food stains. Non-slip, resistant to scratches, acids, alkalis, or organic solvents. And the main traffic aisle ideally is minimum of 5 feet or wide enough for guards to pass. Aisles between equipment and work tables should be 3 feet clearance or 3.5 feet near oven doors. For walls, ceramic tiles is most suitable because they are durable and easy to clean, but a little expensive. And there are also fiberglass reinforced panels, which are plastic-like paneling. They are durable, available in several colors, less expensive to install than ceramics. A type of ceramic which is popular is the subway ceramic tiles. Yeah. Usually they are used for open kitchens for aesthetic purposes. For work heights, follow 36 to 41 inches height for standing and 28 to 30 inches for sitting position. For work table space, minimum of 4 linear feet per person or 6 feet ideally. So this photo is a sample of a workstation, which is the outside expo. with a measurement of 6 feet, ideally handled by one person. Ceiling average height is 14 to 18 feet, and the use of natural light is recommended to reduce operating expenses and also makes the food look more appealing. A new trend in the ceiling design is the open ceiling. So it is a hip industrial look, and it increases the height of the room to make it feel more spacious. The implementation of this kind of ceiling depends on location, and it should be allowed by the local government. For proper workplace light, proper workplace lighting, it increases employee productivity to 3 to 4%. In the kitchen, we prefer luminous ceiling light, or also known as daylight white LED panel lights. For the dining, we prefer warm white lights, which is not too glaring. There are LED lights called MR16, which lasts longer compared to other LED lights. LED filament lamps are types of LED which it helps enhance the ambience, especially in the dining area. So this figure shows the lighting levels for food service area. So basically, we prefer higher intensity or input candles, which is the unit for illuminance of light intensity. It will be higher in areas with detailed work activity or fast-paced tasks. Just for example, in a quick service facility for the dining room, it will be 40 to 50 foot candles. For a casual dining, 10 to 20 foot candles. For a more formal setup or a white tablecloth setup, it is 5 to 15 foot candles. And in the kitchen area where there are detailed works to be done, ideally it is 30 to 40 foot candles. For heating, ventilation, and air conditioning increases employee productivity actually by 5 to 15%. And the ideal temperature for a kitchen is 25 degrees Celsius. So this will be maintained if we have proper ventilation, if we have enough appropriate size for our exhaust, and appropriate limit for our equipment. So let us review with these photos the general guidelines. Our main traffic aisle, you can also answer in the chat box, is ideally or minimum of 5 feet wide. For the aisles between equipment and work table, that is 3 feet, and with oven doors, 3.5 feet. For work tables or workstations, minimum of 4 feet or ideally 6 feet. And for our work table height, that is 36 to 41 inches. And for the ceiling average height, it is 14 to 18 feet. Now let's move to the built-in refrigeration needs. There are factors that influence our refrigeration and freezer sizes. So this includes the size of the equipment, the kinds of food service system used, frequency of deliveries, and the market form of the food purchase. So basically, if we have more products which are considered perishable or needs refrigeration, we would need more amount in our storage facilities. Some specifications for walk-in storage. Height is 7 to 8 feet. The aisle space should be wide enough for carts. Width of shelving is 2 to 3 feet. And we allot 3 inches space for insulation or 5 to 8 inches for freezers. Walk-ins should have strong, durable, easy to clean, easy to clean and flush with the adjoining floor. Walls should be washable, moisture resistant, and it should be equipped with internal door opening device. And lastly, exterior wall with mounted recorder to show the internal temperature. This helps us easily monitor what is the temperature of our walk-in chiller or freezer without the need to check it inside. And some technologies would allow this temperature reading to be checked in using other devices like the computer or mobile device. For plumbing and electrical, the food service manager must know the following: the location for floor drains and drains for steam equipment, location for water sources, hand washing sinks and food prep sinks, drain for waste disposal equipment, need for employee restroom, need and location of electrical outlets, the voltage requirements, consider overhead electrical outlets, the type of outlet, placement of the outlets, and may need special electrical receptacles for some food service equipment. Now for the dishwashing facility, the division of space in the dishwashing area for soiled to the clean dishes is 60-40. So 60 for soiled dishes and 40 for clean dishes. Welcome to the part 2 of our food service systems. Let us now answer this poll question. Sanitizing in dishwashing machine happens with the application of hot water or steam. What is the temperature required for thermal sanitation? Is it 180 degrees Fahrenheit, 75 degrees Celsius, or 200 degrees Fahrenheit? You have 15 seconds to answer. Is it letter S, E, or letter M? Okay, time's up. And the answer is S, that is 180 degrees Fahrenheit, or in Celsius, it's 82 degrees Celsius. For this dishwashing facility, the arrangement may be in a straight line, L or U shape, open square, or platform. So in this example, we have a U shape dishwashing facility. This one is a straight line dishwashing facility. Another poll question. In a 3-compartment sink, for what will you use the first compartment? Is it to sort out the dishes, to scrape off leftover, or to wash the dishes? 15 seconds. Is it S, C, or W? Just type your answers in the chat box. Okay, time's up. And the answer is, of course, W. Wash the dishes. Because it is wash, rinse, and sanitize. So here's the setup for a 3-compartment sink based on ServSafe standard. First, you have to clean and sanitize each sink. Fill the first sink with detergent and water at least 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is warm water. Third, fill the second sink with clean water. Fourth, fill the third sink with water and sanitizer with correct concentration. And fifth step is to set up a clock with the second hand to let the food handlers know how long items have been in the sanitizer. So we also have to make sure that we follow the timing for soaking, washing, and rinsing of our smallwares. For the hand wash sink facilities, which is also one of the vital part of every food service facility, the minimum requirement from NSF is that we have hot water, at least 45 degrees Celsius, antibacterial soap in a dispenser, single-use hand towels or paper towels, hand wash procedure poster, and a trash bin for the paper towels. And some guidelines, hand washing is required every 30 minutes or more often than that. And of course, as needed, prep sink cannot be used as hand washing area. And actually, the kitchen sink is the area with the highest number of germs, followed by other damp places like the dishcloth, toilet bowl, and the garbage can. Okay, so now I would like to share with you another theory, which is called the iceberg theory. So this theory helps us understand the importance of planning, and your success will be because of course, planning and execution. So it is important to spend time in planning and preparation, 80% of your time and effort. And execution is only 20% if you have efficient or an effective preparation or planning. So how do you apply that in your review? Schedule your review time. Create a calendar or a time frame for a specific topic so you will not miss a topic. And then spend more time with the part that is most challenging for you. So if you need more time with the calculations, you can focus on that. Or if you need more time with the clinical phase, You can focus more on that. And make sure to spend your time wisely. Okay, so with that, we are pausing for some question and answer. Okay, so at this moment, do you have any questions, guys? You can type your questions in the chat box.
Ma'am, may questions na nilagay nila sa registration ng Zoom.
Ay,
Nag-register
okay
sila
po.
sa Zoom. Mamaya na lang, kinokollect ko lang.
Sige.
After siguro sa dulo na lang, sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Chef Ian.
But you can type your questions, guys, if you have questions about the topic now.
So while you are sending your questions, next phase will be, I think, food cost na ata tayo. So no questions for now for the architectural standards. So we can proceed with the next topic already. Ayan, may humabol na. From Kim. I think nag-question din kanina si Kim. And syempre, if you also send questions, that is counted as your entry for our giveaway. Yan. Kasi lahat ng entry sa chat box, ika-count natin. Can you please clarify the food candle lighting in your... Okay. In your list, 30 to 40 foot candles for kitchen, but in PD 856, the lighting detail for detailed work is 100 foot candles. Okay, so thank you for that information, Kim. Yan. On the reference that I sent, that is for food service facilities. Hindi kasi ako familiar doon sa PD 856, but 100 foot candles usually is considered for written or yung mga more on the administrative work. Yan, I think of course we also consider those detailed work. Yan. So I will also clarify on that information, but yung 30 to 40, we note that it is ideal for the kitchen prep station or workstation. Yan. So, yung mga task naman dyan is more on cutting, ganun, chopping, not really writing yung mga information. So, medyo mas less detailed naman yung kino-consider natin. So, thank you for clarification, Kim. Yan. I'll also check on that PD 856. Baka pwede nating i-add yan sa natin, sa references. Any other questions? Before we have our break, you can send in your questions in the chat box. Walang bayad ang tanong. Yan.
May pa-UCC coffee pa.
Walang bayad at tanong. Meron pang entry sa UCC. Mukhang clear naman tayo dun sa previous topic. But later on, if you still encounter problems, yan, pwede nyo namang i-chat.